many guys have heard it, just like you said, that it always comes down to numbers thing, and the draft picks seem to get the opportunities and that type of thing. Is there anything that like you could pass on to some of these players that may be in your situation, young guys coming into the ECHL, AHL at 20 years old, or maybe even someone that's been in the ECHL for 3, 4, 5 years and getting up to the AHL? Um, as much as obviously you hear it all, you have to do really well. You have to play, take the opportunity as is. But are there like little things in there that could maybe help them? Is become, I guess, a full-time AHL'er. I guess you did it, but also too, right? Is like there's all these little challenges within that
Of course.
can maybe help.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it makes such a big difference, if you're drafted or signed. So like if you're an undrafted player coming into professional ECHL, AHL, or unsigned, it's going to be 100 times harder for you, because they're always going to get the call ups no matter what, because they're invested in them. But so basically what I'm trying to say is you have to work so much harder, and you just have to find a way to stand out, like in one way or another, because if you're anywhere close to these other guys, they're gonna always get the chances and the opportunity just because they're more invested in them. But it's not impossible. So you got to work so much harder, and you got to find a way to stand out and not just blend in, because if you're you could be a great player, but if you're somewhat similar, you're not going to get that opportunity. So whatever kind of player you are,
And even just like you're saying, for sure, and that's how I saw it as well. But even like the mental grind of it, and mentally almost staying with it more, because it's that feeling you get when like, oh, why is that guy going back out again? When I just had an unreal shift, right? Like you did really well. You maybe even scored, or you had a few shots on net within that shift, and then all of a sudden that guy's going back out, and you get that weird feeling like you kind of get let down, like, oh man, like it feels like it's never going to end. That kind of feel like but that mental grind of staying with it, and there's guys that do it all the time, I'm sure, because some of those guys seem to be making the NHL and the step up, or someone seems to like them. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so mental, like you said. Like we've both been in that same position, me and you. And I feel like when we're playing against each other in the ECHL, we were constantly talking about that. We're like, sometimes we're like, why are we here? Like I feel like we're playing well enough to get that opportunity. But yeah, I mean, you just have to stick with it. It's unfortunate, because I've played against a lot of players, or played with or against in the ECHL, that were unbelievable players, and like great talents, and they would be top talents in the AHL, I even think. But they, it's the same thing. Like they just didn't get the opportunity, or a couple years go by, and then some of these guys just end up retiring. They're like, I didn't get my opportunity. It didn't happen, and it's sad to see that, when they had the skills. But you just have to stick with it. And, if it's something that you want and you feel like you're good enough to do it, you just got to just battle through it, and just hopefully you get your opportunity. And, it's kind of what happened with me. I ended up playing, it's a lot easier to get into the AHL when you're a young player than, an older player. But, just kind of showed like just playing well enough and then getting your chance, then kind of happened with me, and it does happen with a lot of other players too.
well, yeah, I mean, extremely just learning, and just knowing you and following along, like you getting that call up to the AHL, getting 14 points in 16 games, like point per game AHL player. That's not everyone does that at all. Even when they get, you don't, in the media, and the people don't hear about the ones that don't really get that, right? And
Sure.
you did that. You earned a AHL contract for the following year with San Antonio. Like you obviously went through and performed, and was earned and deserved. So like that's probably within itself an experience, and probably confidence for yourself in your career, you would say.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Because even that, after the following season in San Antonio, I kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do at that point. It was a tough year. The second year, the team wasn't doing good, and there's just a lot of it just wasn't a good vibe on that club, and they were going to make a lot of changes. So at that point, I had to decide, do I want to sign another AHL deal like somewhere else? And but it was kind of the same thing as like, do I want to go to another team and try and prove myself again and try and battle and find that spot, which is going to be tough. I had the edge in San Antonio because I played so well the year before, but going to a new team and having to do that again, it's tough. So that's when I thought it'd be better to kind of finish my career over in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, you look at your elite prospects and your hockey resume, you're always basically a point per guy. And even these days, you're over point per game. You're just really excelling, and it seems like you just continue to develop even at the
Yeah.
like everyone. I feel like some of the parents and some of the uneducated hockey people, they're just saying like, oh yeah, like the development starts when they're 17 to like 20, 3, 24. It's not like there's a lot of players in their older years that actually come through even at the ages of 26 to 29, and some guys even 30, 31. It's different for everyone, whether they're hitting their peak of strength or just getting their groove of hockey sense
Totally.
and adapting to that level.
Mm-hmm.
Every league
For
is
sure.
every league is totally different of what you should be, what you should be good at for each league. Um, and
Definitely.
yeah, I just think, there's some constants in there that go a long way, including like your now your shot, like how you've developed. I've talked about is I can't say I've seen a guy's shot get better and better in his later years. Like
Yeah.